Podcast, not like the phone is. The Warrior Class Podcast, where we teach the homies. The Warrior Class Podcast won't leave you lonely. But then beat up everybody, and them niggas always taught it. We clown. We clown on everybody.
Welcome to Warrior Class.
Where the teachers whoop ass. And you will too.
If you pass.
Yes.
Now, this episode is the Bible, the Lamb, and the Whirlwind. Taking them to church on Saturday.
Right.
Now, people are like, what? Where are they going with this? Because we're going to reveal the facts of the Bible today.
Yeah, bro.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes, amen. Hallelujah.
Amen.
And the Bible we're talking about, get your Bibles ready. Hope you got them. If you don't, make sure you get yours. But we're talking about the African Warrior Bible, okay?
Yeah,
you can see this title here.
Mm-hmm.
The African Warriors Bible. That's
Bible. You got to hold it to the other side just a little bit because your label covers it up.
Or here.
To your left. I'm guessing that's your left. Yeah, there you go.
So the African Warriors Bible. Okay. That's what we're talking about. So the way this book came about, I was reading the RBG codes. I put that in air quotes. And I'm reading the codes. I call up Kalanji. I said, hey, man, I'm reading the codes, the RBG codes. I think I'm going to do a book. He's like, oh, that'd be dope. The only thing is, I rarely say anything, but that's actually not. Nobody from the RBG organization created those codes. I actually wrote those codes. So those codes were the FTP codes, and someone from the RBG movement, if you will, they
just co-opted them.
They co-opted the codes and used them. But then the problem is they named them the RBG codes. That kind of shit we got to stop. Okay, let me see. Okay, sorry about that.
Your code come from someone else, like holy.
Well, anything. So people believe in this thing called right knowledge. That's garbage. That means you're giving an excuse for stealing from somebody else, and you're calling it right knowledge. Like, I got a right to this. No. You do not. You have a right if it's taught to you, but not to remix it, or not even remix, just take it and rename it as yours.
It's a shame.
I had a person from that mindset come to class once. His name's Ron. I don't even know his last name. God, I forgot that Trump's last name. His brother's a physician who he lived with at the time. They weren't hurting for no money. I had to get it with his brother too for stealing my book and selling it as is on Scrib. Yeah, Scribe, however you say that, right? I saw that, and first of all, he was like, how did you get my number? Don't worry about that, chump. You selling my son. Well, I give you some money for it. No, you take that. You are going to give me the money, but you take that down immediately. Right? I said, how dare you? You're a physician. Right. I'm here working. At that time, I was working a 9 to 5. I'm working a 9 to 5, and the little time I had, my wife allowed me and my children, because they need their time to write this book, and you're going to take the book and sell it. You ain't do a goddamn sentence.
Right. Take
it down right now, or I'm not taking you to court. I'm coming to your house because I also have your address. You want me to read it out to you? No. I'm gonna take it down. So I don't play that. You don't take nothing from me. Not even a penny, and I don't see you. Because I work for that.
Yeah,
you're dealing with intellectual property, people working hard.
Right, of course.
So this brother came to class, and at that time I was charging $8 for a class. $8. It wasn't, and this wasn't like back in the 70s, 80s or something. This was in the early 2000s. And dude says, after class, I said, I don't know if you forgot about the $8, everything, if you have it. Because we were all walking to the train. I didn't even have a car at the time. We were struggling. So, I mean, you don't necessarily be struggling because you're not taking a car, but I was struggling. We were in Atlanta. If you ain't got no car, you're probably struggling. Okay. So, because the public transportation is so poor.
Yeah, and everything is so wide set that you have to have a car to get places efficiently.
Right. So he said, well, yeah, I got the $8 right here. Past his pocket for emphasis. But I'm like, giving it to you. I said, excuse me? He said, you're supposed to teach the Warriors for free.
He just decided after he took the class, he decided to tell you.
Right,
that.
He decided that. Yeah. And he decided that. No discussion. He said, you're supposed to teach the Warriors for free. As an old warrior, you're supposed to, I'm like, as an old warrior, at that time I was 40. Was I even 40 yet? I wasn't even 40. I don't think I was 40 yet. Okay. So, yeah, I wasn't even 40 yet. I was in my 30s. He said, as an old warrior. So, normally that'd be somebody 13 or something saying that, you're 30, you old. But he's a grown man saying that. So, but lets you know how young-minded he was.
Right.
And at that time, I looked, in my 20s. I said, dude. And Kunle was with me, right? He was it was several students, but he was walking right beside me as the dude saying that. I said, so you're not going to pay my money? So Kunle jumps in. He said, oh, yeah, he's going to pay you. He's going to pay you. I said, oh, certainly. I said, but you don't have to jump in this one, Kunle. I said, because I'm going to knock his ass out and I'm going to roll him onto these tracks. Kunle said, oh, he ain't going to get upstairs. He said, or if we get upstairs, we hang his ass over the balcony, let the money fall out. Then you can go down and get it. And, if he get too funny, I'd go and drop him down there to you. Dude looking like, how you saying that? So police are over here. He's looking at him. I said, call him over here. I'm going to beat the shit out of you right in front of them. They ain't gonna do shit. These cops ain't gonna do shit. They may try to put their hands on me. I said, right now I'm in the mindset, you call them over here, they gonna be laying right with you. So I'm not fucking around with you. I said, now you, my wife, I timed that perfectly, it's 108. It's actually not 8 minutes. I looked it up. It's only a minute and something. But anyway, I said, my wife's, because my wife was, training at the time. I said, you looking at my wife's behind every time she walked. And I'm like, man, this brother, looking at, but I said, if he trains with us, and he develops a love for us, he'll stop doing that, because he'll love us too much to be looking at my wife's, gawking at my wife's backside. I said, but, when I think about you doing that right in front of me, so you got no respect for me. So, if you don't give me that $8, I'm whooping you for the disrespect of not saying you're not going to pay me like I'm some kind of punk.
Right.
I'm going to punk you. I said, and for looking at my wife's backside, disrespecting me in front of me. Now, if she's walking down the street somewhere, you looking at the backside, you look at the backside. But in class, in front of me, you do that, and it's my wife, I'm going to break your goddamn legs. And I might break your neck, but I'm definitely breaking both your legs. I promise you that. For $8 simple, I'm going to break your legs. You know why I'm going to break your legs, though? Your knees specifically. Because it takes 8 pounds of pressure to break a kneecap. This scared the hell out of them. It takes 8 pounds of pressure to break a kneecap. You owe me $8. So that pressure you're causing, I'm going to put that on your knees. I'm breaking both of your knees. He's like, what? Kule grabs him. Come on, let's go. We're about to do it now. He takes that money out, hands the money. I said, now walk your ass up there, right? I make him pay his fare. I should have made him pay mine, but I didn't. And then he sits. I said, now sit across from us for the whole ride we there. And I'm like, yo, pussy ass punk. I said, tell your people you're going to get your ass whooped. You almost got your ass whooped. I'll visit your house. I'll beat it. I'm just going off. And he's just nervous and looking. I said, look up at me. I'm making him look at me, and I'm just going off on him. And Cooney like, yeah, I should slap you right now. Sitting next to him. It was one of his worst rides in his life.
Not bad.
For $8. This fool wouldn't pay. But, we had to force him to pay. So he went there with the $8.
Hey, it was $8 to him, but for you, it wasn't really about the $8.
Right. I've had many students that I can't pay. Okay, well, give me when you get me. And if he had said that, I said the same thing. And he wasn't even one of my students. He's just somebody taking the class.
Right.
Well, it was funny when I talked to Kalanji about I want to do this thing. I said I talked that same thing about this brother. He said, oh, yeah, Ron. So he had heard about it. He had heard about it before he met me. I met Kalanji in 2006. We've been cool since 2006, right?
Wow.
So and I think this happened like 2000. I don't even think Ade was born. Ade was born in 2002, my son. So maybe 2001. My wife may have been pregnant. I can't remember. She was training though, so I'm not sure. But never saw him again. If I did, he probably saw me and hid out. Maybe some festival, Malcolm X festival, so he probably hid. And other people other comrades have had to check those folks, the brother, for things they've done. So anyway, when I talked to Kalanji and told him, he said, yeah, I wrote the codes, have at it, comrade. And he said he didn't think it was going to be what it became. So what I did was I took each of the codes and made them into a chapter, and each code, how it applies to Black life and our self-protection. Okay. How to apply to our enemies, all of it, right? So we're going to go into the Bible today. And each chapter, it has martial techniques or some form of technique, right? Mental techniques, which is also martial, the way we apply it. This will be a part 1. We'll probably only go to chapter 4, but when we come back to this in January, probably in 3 weeks, to finish it, we're going to do the techniques with it as well. Okay. But today we're going to dive into this. So this was written, and it's funny, the people I thanked in here.
Excuse me, Bob. I just wanted to interject and say greetings to the family. Jadarian, Jaman, is it Jaman M?
Yeah, Jaman M93, I think it is.
I manifesto.
Yes, and all others out there.
Those lurking.
So it's interesting, folks that I thanked here. Certain things I won't mention, but it lets you know when this is. So I said, okay, I thank my wife. I said, I give thanks to my children. Arshun Yoyin, that's my old, I went by age. Kose Wokan, Bamitale, Okeshina, Yetunde, Abiola, Oluwade, and Oriemi. I said, and so we got in addition now Kikiola. But then I said, and Oriemi was very young. And I said, and my grandchildren, this is funny here. Ade Tutu Ogunwale Oje Tade, Emmanuel Oje Tade Grimes, That's 2 grandbabies. I got 6 now.
Oh wow.
So how time moves.
Yeah.
And ain't no multiple, ain't no twins in there, nothing like that. So this has been time. I said I give thanks to my
Baba.
Huh?
I said you got riches.
Oh yeah, for sure. A brother once said to me, you got all these girls, you the producer of the producers, man. That's a blessing. A lot of brothers don't see it as that. I said, I've never, and my mother would say, what you want, every pregnancy, boy or girl, I just want them to be healthy. You are muted, nigga. Oh, so I said I just want them to be healthy, and I meant that. A lot of people just say that. I meant that. I was happy as hell when I got a son. When my wife gave me a son, after 6 girls, then there was my son. He's my 7th child, and then the child after, like, don't know what's gonna be. It was Oriemi, a girl, and this baby, Okikiola. My wife's like, I want this boy. I want, one more boy. I want this boy. And when we went to get the ultrasound, he said, "You see those 3 lines right there? That's a girl. You're seeing her private parts, right? That's a girl." My wife had that shit done again by somebody else. I think they got it wrong. I said, "Dear, they didn't get that wrong. Not at this is 6 months. They didn't get it wrong. Yeah, they got. I think they got that wrong. We're gonna get somebody else to do it." I said, "Okay." So he went to another ultrasound specialist or whatever you call them, and girl. So she accepted it. Then it's a girl. I make girls, and I got blessed with Ade. He had to come. I couldn't. I'm the type of man I couldn't have a bunch of boys. If I had as many boys I had girls, we've been blown some shit up by now.
Your dad only had 1 boy, right?
No.
Excuse me.
Technically, no. So it's me and
I'm just putting you
my
out.
brother Michael. So my brother Michael has transitioned. He was younger than me. I don't know if I've ever told you about this. So I went to a bookstore in Chicago to, as I regularly did, to shoplift, to take me some books I want to read again. So I went into the store, to go ahead, take me, a couple books, go in with my
take advantage of the right knowledge.
Yeah, the right knowledge, right? Exactly. So come out with the full. No, see, this is my attack against capitalism, and I really thought of it as that.
Right. Okay.
And so I was expropriating books. So and that's all I ever took, books. So I went into the store. This time I didn't get nothing because I walk in the store and there's a person in front of me, got a coat just like mine, about the same height, walking just like me. I ain't seen the face. I said, God, this is weird. Is this a hologram I'm seeing myself? Same type of hat, same color hat. The coat was the same, but it was slightly different. I think it was slightly darker than mine. I had a tan brown. His was a little darker than tan. But it was the same makeup coat, same jeans, shoes. These boots had on. It was winter in Chicago. And I said, the hell? Real low. But he sensed something. And when he turned around, I was looking in my own face. And we both, jaws dropped. I said, at the same time he doing, it was weird. He's shaking his head, I'm shaking my head. It's like a mirror, but he's not going the same way like that. He's going, that way. Because we're both shaking towards the right. So his head, I said, what is this? And he just kind of like, oh no, turned around like, this can't be. And walked on in the store. I left. I took that as a sign. I'm not supposed to do this because I didn't see myself.
Right.
I told my father as I'm beginning the story, he started cracking up. He said, Michael told me too. So he lived in Detroit, but he was visiting Chicago, visiting my father, and he loved books. So he was going to the store. May have been going to expropriate. I don't know. But
almost certainly.
Yeah. So he went to the store. Exactly. And he said, he came home and said, Dad, it was crazy. I just saw somebody in the store look exactly like me. I doubt it was your son. He said, what store? He said, Barnes and Noble bookstore. I'll tell you what it is. And so he said, oh, that was your brother. That was your brother. They all look just like. He said, I'm always telling you, y'all look just alike. It's no exaggeration. I said, this is crazy. So the things that are going on in my life was shortly after I got married. He was back in Detroit, and I never saw him again. I don't even know why I didn't invite him to my wedding or anything. I think I really just threw it out of my mind. Such a strange experience, but I think he had actually passed by. No, yeah, he had passed by then because I was going to invite him. I talked to my father, and my father said, Michael's dead. What? The difference between us was he was addicted to, I want to say heroin, but overdosed and died. So, but he looked just like it was some wild job. Anyway, I don't know how I got on that. But anyway,
well, I asked if your dad only had one because you were talking about
it's right.
medication. Yeah. And peace to 40J Blaze, Vicky.
Assistance.
Right, assistance.
It was my brother assistance, yes. So who I never got to just talk to. Like that, right? Somebody said the explosive OJ Tyler. Yeah, if I had more sons than girls, it would have been.
That sounds like a book, Baba.
It
sounds like a book.
Having girls softened me a lot. And it's, in fact, a priest I got divination told me that having girls is what I needed to soften me on certain things, and I could absolutely see that. He ain't know nothing about me, but I could absolutely, I was like, he's right on that. So anyway, that is just funny. And then I said, finally, I give thanks to all the great warriors who, whether soldiering on this earthly plane or on the other side of the veil, continue to be examples for us all. Some people here, people will probably disagree with, but, and this is so a long time. So I didn't come to Black Power meetings to say, hey, I'm a fan of Dhoruba bin Wahad. In this book, I thank for those soldiers, Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner, John Henry Clark, Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Dr. Bunseki Fukau, Assata Shakur, and Dhoruba bin Wahad. It's very, very interesting. My life and who I've been interested in. Some of these people on here definitely would not agree with each other.
Right.
I'm looking, would I even, and I even had an encounter, a couple of them with Khalid Muhammad that one day I'll talk to you about.
Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I talked to you. One day I talked to y'all about one day. One day. I just want now just because. That's all I'll say right now. But anyway, so that was the beginning. So we'll go into chapter 1. Chapter 1 is thou shalt not snitch. The actual FTP code is no snitching. Okay. The police, capitalism, and the state and federal government are enemies to the people, and to work with them is criminal, ancestral treason. Loose lips sink ships. Snitching is unforgivable. So that's the first code. Right?
Amen.
The hunter that speaks too much, and that proverb that fits that, the hunter that speaks too much goes home empty-handed. That's a Dinka proverb. Squealers, informants, informers, whistleblowers, whatever you call them, they are all the same. People who tell on others. Now, we can use whistleblowers for our advantage, but they snitching. They are all snitches, so let's call them that. Why do these traitorous people snitch? A major reason is that they find pleasure in the suffering of others. Jealousy, anger, revenge, money, power, and the misperception by the snitch that he or she is doing something righteous are all common reasons also. Oftentimes, however, snitches fool themselves about their motives and are really snitching for other reasons. As in Dante's Inferno, there are different kinds of snitching. All are low, but the lowest is the paid informant. Informants are a major force in establishing governments that rob citizens of their privacy and freedom. Now, we'll say the author was me. I take full responsibility for everything I said up in here, and I stand on it. So, informers are a major force in establishing governments that rob citizens of their privacy and freedom. So, don't get it on me, Nikki. Agents of the state who are listening, it's me. Okay. In America, everywhere you look, informants are thriving and growing in number. Facebook, of course, is the number one informant in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
If they take my account off, you know why. People discover what other people are doing and relay it to all of their friends. I know of numerous cases where sex and infidelity were discovered via Facebook, among other transgressions. Now, corporations and universities thoroughly examine Facebook postings of potential students and employees in order to pry into and learn more about their detailed personal lives. Despite this, Facebook participants continue to reveal lots of personal information to their friends. Recognition is indeed a powerful human drive. What's the solution? Silence. Seriously, stop talking so damn much. Love your people more than you love money or attention, and realize we build with our hands, not our mouths.
That attention, that's a powerful one right there.
People, yeah, well, let's build. They saying get together and let's pontificate, right? Well, that we don't build nothing with our mouths, right? Maybe we can build a headache and somebody else
build a plan,
right? But that's it, and we got to work that plan, or we just talking outside our neck. Silence is a great weapon in the warrior's arsenal. For example, let's say a unit of our comrades wishes to explore a warehouse in the community that was erected around the same time African children began disappearing off the streets of Chicago. They obtain information on the facility and note that there are guards at various locales, either providing eyes to those in the intended target area or in the immediate area to help guard the premises. They may be armed or unarmed. Neutralizing these guards means ensuring they are incapacitated or subdued so they cannot do comrades or the children any harm. Neutralizing an enemy is not an easy task. While a long-distance rifle shot can accomplish this, the underlying concept of sentry neutralization is to incapacitate the threat of the sentry without alerting others. Now, unless you're shooting from a half mile or a mile away or something, and you have to be well trained to pull that shot off, they're going to hear it. So the idea of neutralizing the sentry is to do it silently. A rifle shot will not meet this goal. Silencing the sentry so he cannot alert others is absolutely vital. He must not be given the chance to cry out either for help or in pain. When the attack is made, almost always from behind, a hand goes over the sentry's mouth while delivering the incapacitating technique. This silence extends to, or so they say, this silence extends to muffling any gurgling sounds after a throat is accidentally cut. When accidentally stabbing a sentry, the attack should be launched from approximately 3 feet away. Say that again. When accidentally stabbing a sentry, because I only know about if you accidentally do it. The attack should be launched from approximately 3 feet away.
Because anything further than that is premeditated. But once you get up on them,
it was an accident. You
right.
kind of slip. Spring toward the sentry, because you're trying to just put your hand over the mouth so you don't be yelling,
Right.
or bite you or something like that. So you put your hand over the mouth. Spring toward the sentry and then apply the chosen technique. Following the sentry's incapacitation, take his tool and, if possible, I must have been asleep when I said this. If possible, hide the body. I must have been like half asleep when I wrote that. I probably meant chide the body, like, stop, don't do this.
Right.
But I missed the C. So it says hide the body. Anyway, it is best while stalking the sentry to stay below. Ooh, I went there with this book, didn't I? It is best while stalking the sentry to stay below the level of his shoulder blades. Allegedly. People have peripheral vision, but they rarely use it lower than the height of their shoulders. Listen.
That's a good one.
Follow this principle even when stalking the sentry from behind. Glance downward to know. So remember, people use peripheral, but they rarely go beyond the height of their shoulders. So you don't just walk up on a mug like that. You walk low up on the mug. If you ever see me walking low up on somebody, it's because of that reason, okay? You say, he walking toward Joe. And Joe isn't, I'm not walking toward Joe. Because I'm not in his peripheral vision. Joe's just like, why is that dude crouching? He's just looking at me. That doesn't make sense, right? Glance downward to note any twigs, leaves, or debris of any kind which may alert the sentry to your presence. Incapacitation is to be done as silently as possible. Remember the scenario I said, this warehouse comes up, children in Chicago, it could be Atlanta, it could be
Ohio,
Baltimore, it could be Cincinnati, it could be Atlanta, wherever. Glance downward to note any, so baby's missing and you've decided to, it's part of your duty to protect your neighborhood and find out what's going on and stop what's going on. Glance downward to note any twigs, leaves, or debris of any kind which may alert the sentry to your presence. Incapacitation is to be done as silently as possible. I'm reiterating. The author's reiterating that. You should move toward the sentry only when the sentry's back is toward you. No chances, however minimal they may seem, should be taken that will reveal your presence. No chances, however minimal they may seem, should be taken that will reveal your presence. You say, man, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat this Pringle. He ain't going to hear me because, the world, the AC is going on. And, the world machine, he ain't going to hear me eat this Pringle. No, don't say that for later. And don't eat Pringles. They don't call them chips because those are not chips. It's made from a powder that's put together, just so you know. That's FYI.
Oh, Pringles.
Yeah, it's not cut from a potato and you eat the potato like a potato chip. It's from a powder and they pound it into something that looks
flavored powder.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. What else is in the powder? But anyway.
Right.
You should move toward the sentry only when the sentry's back is towards you. No chances have a minimal. Should reveal your presence. Neutralization is a silent art. There should be no talking to others who may be accompanying you. Hand signals are to be utilized, and we did one of our episodes called Shh, where we teach hand signals. Non-radio communication is what we call it, right? So we learn to use radios. We also learn to, if we can't use it, we have to have radio silence. How do we communicate? So hand signals ought to be utilized. If the neutralization is to be accomplished with a two-person team, your movement should be in sync with your partners. You should neutralize the sentry at the same time your partner controls the sentry's tool. The author wrote weapon here, but it's tool. You're the weapon. That's the tool. Generally by taking it away at the precise moment he is attacked. Your mind should be clear of all other thoughts. Allow no distractions. Amen. Your focus must be solely on the stealthy incapacitation of your enemy. A knife is the favorite weapon. The knife should be light enough to be handled with ease. More than one knife should be carried, one with a longer blade than the other. Other weapons to use against sentries include a garrote, that's a rope, wire. You loop it over the head, pull. You get the picture. A garrote, rope, belt buckle. Those are all same reason. You ain't whooping their ass with a belt buckle like kung fu movies. You're not doing that. It's a garrote. Shoelaces, same thing. A stick or club, and your bare hands. Okay. And so that is, amen, that's it. Then we went into the techniques that I illustrated of how to do some of the things I'm talking about, sentry elimination. On the cover is actually some sentry elimination. And that is, people say, man, that's the Egyptian position. I seen that in the Egyptian picture. Well, that's because that's African. It's for a reason. So he's stomping into Belay's knee. Balogun is stomping into Belay's knee. Got his hand over his mouth. The other hand is up. He ain't, we salute in this man, but he ain't saluting. And actually, if you can imagine a knife being there, and in the book, so we weren't gonna put a knife in my hand on the cover, but in the book, you can see the technique. But you can imagine what happens after that. Okay.
If you want to get, read more about the technique, of course, you want to go ahead and purchase the book.
Yeah, the African Warriors Bible, you can get it on Amazon, like all my other books. Okay. This is consistently one of the best sellers. Two of my best seller nonfiction, and nonfiction always sells better than fiction, by the way. We did an episode on fiction versus nonfiction too, but anyway, it's this, the USPI Urban Self-Defense Manual. That is my best seller, and it's my only nonfiction book, I believe. The only one that's not illustrated at all. And some well-known folks have read this one. Keep it in their go bags and stuff like that. That, and then this one is second, the African Warriors Bible. So chapter 2, Ominiki.
Chapter 2 is Thou shalt not commit rape.
And the code is just called no rape. The FTP code is no rape.
To rape is a violation of a person's body, mind, and spirit. It is barbaric and anti-African. Rapists should suffer severe consequences and repercussions. And the proverb is, the axe forgets, the tree remembers. So,
the axe forgets, the one that commits the harm.
Right.
But the tree remembers.
Absolutely. Because the tree carries the scars.
Now, real quick, I Manifesto said that's like the British salute.
Right.
So, where the salute comes from, even this is the American salute. Okay. If you didn't have glasses on, it would be, a cap on, it would be at the corner of my glasses or the corner of my eye. With the cap on, it's at the corner of this cap. Okay. The British go here. Why? That represents removing the visor that's on armor. So you remove the visor, you go, whoop, pull the visor up. So that your commanding officer can see, make sure it's you, king, whoever you before, right? You move the visor up. You move the visor up. That's where that salute comes from.
Wow.
Just so you know, that's where it comes from. And so from that, it developed in the United States into this. the United States was always trying to do. That's why the language. Remember George Washington, all them that they're descendants of the Brits directly, right?
Right.
The language of American English was purposely developed and changed so they could be different from the British. One as a military strategy, so I could say certain things that the British can't catch immediately, but also to establish themselves as a separate place. Okay. And there's some debate as to whether America is just still a colony of the United States. Some people believe it. I haven't done a lot of research, but I know a lot of Black Brits. Whenever you're whooped, remember the tree remembers.
Yeah, Mo.
You may teach that in school. Well, unless they just don't want people to, in the UK to, ever know that England lost something, but they don't teach. No Brit that I know was ever taught about the Revolutionary War at all in school. So, a lot of them don't believe that it happened. They're like, we've learned about a lot of wars. Even fighting when England fought the Scots, and the Scots beat them back after years of being oppressed by them, right? They fought them back, after years of being oppressed. William Wallace, if you watch Braveheart, that's not historically accurate, but it's about that during that time, Edward the Longshanks versus William Wallace. Well, they learn about that, but they do not learn about the Revolutionary War. So that's just food for thought on that. So excuse me, Dominique, you can go ahead and if any Brits are out there, yeah, colony of the UK, I thought that's what I said. So if any Brits are out there, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but the ones I know, and we could bring one on the show and he could talk about it, but
I think I'll get back to the book also, but it would be a lot more difficult for them to hide that history, I think, as far as the William Wallace and Edward the Longshanks and all that. Whereas they're not gonna probably run across a lot of Americans and get a detailed accounting of what we were taught as far as the Revolutionary War goes.
Right, and in school, to be honest, I can't remember what we were taught about the Revolutionary War. And I loved history. I really can't, I have an anthology book out called Rococo. So not Rococo like ROCO, like the Rococo period. It's a play on it. Rococo, ROCOCOA, like Coco, Black. So Rococo deals with that time, but I'm sure people heard of steampunk. Well, I'm one of the progenitors of steampunk. Steampunk told through an African/Black lens, diasporic lens, right? Well, Rococo is the period right before that, during the Revolutionary War, pirates, all of that. And I did a lot of study during that time on both sides of the Revolutionary War and how they both used Black bodies to fight that war.
Yeah. Yeah, my son is homeschooled, and that they always teach history. The school that he goes to always teaches history through our lens. So that was the main thing that they focused on when they were teaching them about the Revolutionary War and how it affected us, the policies that they had on both sides, and how, enslaved Africans were used, and, other Blacks throughout this country. So
yes, and yes, and Native bodies.
Do that prior to hearing his lessons.
Right. And I meant to say, and Native bodies. Yes, and Native bodies.
Your bone.
Some people would argue black bodies and native bodies are one and the same. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but that also most of the natives I've seen are do the products of colonial rape.
Yeah, bro. That's something
So
we don't think about.
right, but I do know, and we have natives in our family, and we're not the typical blacks. Yeah, because we got good hair. Y'all have seen my hair. It certainly ain't because somebody got good hair. But I know
A good hair, Baba.
I got healthy, clean hair, so that's good. But not good hair with saying soft hair.
Like
But
wavy shit.
right, but I used to have wavy hair because you can make wavy hair with a do rag. Right, but it ain't you just came out the womb with it. But anyway, I do know that there are some Africans who ran and hid amongst Native Americans. Right, I know that for a fact.
Right.
So they had to look like them.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. That's just like the Jesus story. How they or not Jesus? Was it? No. Yeah, Jesus and Joseph too. Right. They say they ran to Egypt to hide. How you gonna run to
I don't
Egypt to
know about
hide?
Jesus, but I know that Joseph and Mary. And there's also a teaching that Mary was more than likely dressed like a male, to look like a male, because they're traveling to Egypt, one man and a woman. Oh, that's dangerous for her and for him. They killed him, taking her, going through deserts, these wandering Israeli nomad. I'll just say that Israeli nomad. They wasn't Israel because Israel didn't exist, but
Right.
And the Quraysh and all these, white groups. You're going. So there are, but once again, take it with a grain of salt because I don't have the evidence of it. But there are those who teach that she was dressed like a man to get through, and it makes sense during that journey.
Right.
So
Okay. So back to chapter 2. Thou shalt not commit rape.
mm-hmm.
Please let's control our emotions and read what I have to say, which is based on decades of teaching, training, and observation of my sisters and my 7 daughters and son before having a knee-jerk reaction. I was a victim of ongoing rape by a woman that began when I was 4 and ended when I was 5. So I know firsthand how horrific and how damaging rape can be. One feminist said to me, because the society we live in has taken the phrase of avoid getting raped and turned it into a reason to justify the unfortunate orthodoxy women are subjected to, even after following your avoid getting raped precautionary steps, I'm still not assured safety, let alone the respect and social standing I deserve. If I am as much as teased, it is very possible that after the incident, I would be expected not to leave the house alone. I might be expected to take a different route, which may be longer and more tedious than the one I took before, and will be expected to come back home before dark or something like that. I would be given a reality check about what I wear, how I walk, talk, make eye contact, sneeze, and how any of this might be encouraging some man out there who cannot control his hormones and who wasn't taught not to rape. For all I know, I might be withheld from going to the place I am going, which could be my school, my college, my place of work, and will be told to stay at home instead because the outside world is full of people that believe that laying down rules like these are actually a good way to make girls stay within their limits because they are girls after all. I am not allowed to have a social life. The society is most likely to come with bizarre solutions like marrying me off earlier than usual because a potential rapist is going to initiate small talk and find out details like if I'm married or not before deciding his course of action. And so, in a nutshell, I have lost my right to education and work, freedom of speech, expression, dressing, slash interaction, and freedom of travel with the opposite sex. In other words, my right to live, all because you choose to teach me to avoid getting raped rather than teaching your son not to rape. I understand the point. However, the assumption was made that I don't teach my son not to rape. Wrong. I teach my son and many other sons not to do such a heinous act. However, many men and women do not know to teach their sons and daughters because men are not the only ones who rape or how to. So, in the meantime, you'd better know how to defend yourself because if you're a sister, there is a great chance that you are, there's a great chance
You ought to suffer rape.
you are to suffer rape at some time in your life. Most women reading this already have. Getting back to teaching our sons, here's what they need to know. Number one, sexual harassment of any kind is wrong. Unwanted comments about a person's body or catcalls in the street are not funny and they are not compliments. It can make a person feel threatened and has been shown to lead to anxiety and body consciousness. Instead of participating in sexual harassment, think about how rude or vulgar comments might make a person feel. Number two, consent. Consent means a person can freely choose whether or not to engage in sexual activity and can stop the activity at any time during sexual contact. Be aware that a person cannot give consent if they are intoxicated, asleep, or mentally impaired. Number three, yes means yes. When determining
Real quick on that one too. I was teaching a class about that, and I'm looking at the people. They were, they were giggling nervously, kind of, looking around like, oh, eyes bucking, because many of us play the sleep game. Person laying asleep, you take it. Well, keyword, you take it because they didn't consent to you having sex with them. Now, if that's something where you and your partner know, okay, when I go to sleep, you're gonna mess with me and do so and so, and it's gonna be fun. Yee, I wake up that way. Well, that's cool. But if one day y'all decided that and you doing this and no, I'm tired, and you do it anyway, you didn't get their consent. Just so you know, you did not get their consent. So yes, it's rape. My own self, okay, with my wife. There have been times when she's, I'm asleep, she get frisky. I'm tired. I just finished class. All right, she stopped. There have been times when I have, all right, and I stop. I'm not gonna just, oh girl, you want to do something. Stop teasing. It's crazy as hell, man. Would she call the police on me? No, she wouldn't. But I still went beyond my bounds. I didn't get consent. And that's the way it is. A lot of people didn't want to, and people were trying to argue it with a smile on their face because they're like, oh man, they're trying to justify what they have done. I said, well, you ain't got to justify it to me. Just now, better, do better.
right?
So always get consent. Even if you say, hey, just letting you know, when you go to sleep tonight, I'm going to do something. Is that fine? You say, well, yeah, well, you got consent. They say, I'm tired of that. You better not do nothing. And y'all maybe he, you know, wait till the next morning or till they wake up or something, because you always want to get consent. Sorry, nigga, I just had to deal with
That's
that.
good to know. Number 3, yes means yes. When determining if someone wants to have sex with you, look and listen for a yes, not the absence of a no. No one should ever pressure or talk someone into sex. It's ideal to only have sex with someone who really wants to have sex with you, and vice versa. No one is entitled to sex. That's number 4. It may seem like everyone is having sex all the time, but that is not reality. No one is ever entitled to sex with someone. That includes a spouse, boyfriend, or girlfriend. You don't deserve sex because you're a nice guy or spend money on a date. Sex is a mutual decision that both parties make on an ongoing basis. Number 5, alcohol makes things risky. Alcohol clouds our judgment and lowers our inhibitions. It also interferes with clear communication, and thus you may not accurately read nonverbal communication or hear a person's no clearly when they are drunk, when you are drunk, excuse me. Substance can lead you to a decision you deeply regret. Among men who raped women, 64% were using alcohol and or drugs prior to the attack. Speak up.
That's number 6.
Boys harass girls, or some boys harass girls or make rape jokes to impress their friends. Most bystanders choose to stay quiet instead of confronting bad behavior because it can be hard to go against the group. One study found that 80% of college men felt uncomfortable when women were belittled or mistreated in their presence, but they didn't speak up because they thought they were the only one who felt that way. By using your voice, you can help spread the message that rape is unconscionable. And I can say, I remember being in college. I was very young, maybe about 19, I think, at the time. I don't think I was 20 yet. And I went to a party with some friends who I had gone to high school with. And this wasn't a rape joke necessarily, but one of the guys just like put some porn on, like on the TV. And we're all sitting.
Party?
Yeah, we were playing cards, and all of a sudden there's some porno movie on. So, right. So, people were sitting there not saying, I wasn't sure if anyone else was uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that I dive into all dangerous situations, but I definitely felt enough to say something at the time. And ask them what was wrong with them and why would they put on something like that, when we're all here enjoying ourselves.
And what was their answer?
I don't even remember. They did turn it off though. That was the main thing. But I do remember there being people there who tried to make me feel bad for saying something. So it can be a terrible situation, especially with young people. But that's why we have to make sure that our young people, when we send them off to school, that they know who they are, that they're strong enough to use their voices. Because if you don't, you can end up in a really bad situation. Who knows? You completely changing the environment when you do something like that. Who knows what could go on after that? So that's
that's strange as hell. That's almost like we're training in class and somebody break out a porn on their phone.
Right. Exactly.
I'll clown them so bad. Depending on who it is, if it's somebody who was just coming to class, they're getting tossed out without explanation. And if they've been around for a while, they got to explain themselves, or they get tossed out too.
Definitely.
Weird.
Yeah, for sure. If you have been the victim of a rape or sexual assault, you may not know how to feel normal again. You may feel that the emotional pain of a rape or sexual assault will never go away. You may feel shame, depression, anxiety, and fear after the attack. No matter how you feel, know that things will become better. You will learn to heal and life will go on. Here are some tips for recovering from a rape or sexual assault. First, your physical recovery. Seek medical attention. Even if you do not want to take the assault to the police, who are usually uncaring and blame the victim, you must be seen by a doctor and receive care for any injuries and to be tested and receive treatment for any sexually transmitted infections. Just know that if you go to the hospital emergency room, the police will be notified. Don't shower. If you do plan to involve the police, even though you may have the intense desire to shower, don't. Go see a doctor first so he or she can collect evidence and try to convict your rapist. Even if you do not want to press charges right away, you may change your mind later. Chances are your rapist has or will attack someone else. This evidence could be the difference between a conviction and another rape on another person. Another tip is to keep clothes. Do not throw away or wash the clothes you were wearing at the time of the attack. Place them in a sealed plastic bag to take to the police if you plan to involve them. For your emotional recovery, know that you are not alone. One out of every 6 women and 1 out of every 33 men have been the victim of rape. Every person responds differently to a rape or sexual assault, and all feelings ranging from depression, humiliation, to fear, to confusion, to anger, to numbness, to guilt, to shame, however unpleasant, are normal.
Let me say something real quick. So often rape and sexual assault are the same thing based on what state you live in. So in Illinois, they don't call a rape. Rape is not you. That's a colloquial term. It's called sexual assault. Down here, I'm not sure. But we all know what rape is, but in certain states, sexual assault is a thing. Sometimes people say sexual assault to try to make it like it's less.
Right.
It's rape. Okay, just so you know.
Okay. Another tip: the rape was not your fault. Self-blame is common among rape victims. Rape victims tend to feel as though they are somehow responsible for the rape. It's not true. The only person responsible for the sexual assault is the person who committed the rape. It may take quite some time to rebuild trust in other people. Being the victim of a rape shatters your sense of trust, and it's not something easily rebuilt. Give yourself time to heal. Also, confide in someone. If you're finding that you're having a particularly difficult time coping in the aftermath of the rape, don't be afraid to find a local counselor who specializes in rape and sexual assault. Confide in a trusting loved one about your feelings. Don't keep them bottled up inside because you feel you should be strong for other people. Let them know you're hurting and what they can do to help.
Omanika, can you it's a lot here. So if you could go to, and I would say get the book because it's a lot, but if you could go to page 30, things to say to someone who has been raped, things not to say to someone.
Baba, do you mind if I go over the mentally part first? The mental.
Okay.
Okay. That's the last of the 3. So, meant to recover mentally, regain control. Recovering from a rape or sexual assault is a long, complicated process. Do not feel guilty if you cannot simply get over it. Part of healing from a rape or sexual assault involves regaining feelings of control over your environment. In addition to all of the other complicated feelings after a rape, feeling out of control is not uncommon. The rape took away your control. You must fight to bring it back. Rebuilding feelings of safety, trust, control, and self-worth can take quite a long time. That is okay. You can also ask for help. Do not hesitate to ask for help. If you need help from a counselor or therapist, if you need help finding a support group, if you need help going to the grocery store and getting chores done, ask someone for help. There is no shame in admitting you cannot do it all alone. Write out your feelings. Don't hesitate to keep a private journal of your thoughts. And when you buy the book, there's also some information on support here. But yeah, I'm going to skip ahead to the things that you can say to someone who has been raped. Tell them, I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened to you. This is not your fault. How can I help? Would you like me to find a support group for you? I'm here if you want to talk. I'm here if you don't want to talk. You are not alone. Things not to say to someone who's been raped. Were you drunk? What were you wearing? Men can't be raped. It's your fault. Why aren't you getting over this faster? You're wallowing. That wasn't rape. You were leading him or her on. You shouldn't report it. It's only going to make it worse for you. You're overreacting. So this is a very good chapter and has a lot of very important things in it. I would say, especially if you're dealing with, actively dealing with one of those kinds of situations, or if you're raising a child and you need to find kind of a framework to teach them from, this is an excellent book to do that.
Sure. And it's got plenty of self-defense technique. I think it's the longest chapter in there because it was just more important. It was very important to establish some things and to help people get help, support, things of that nature, and to be able to protect themselves. Chapter 3, thou shalt bang for Uhuru. And the code is bang for Uhuru. If you are going to bang, then bang on the system, not other Africans.
Yeah, boom.
A fight between, and the Lesotho proverb says, a fight between grasshoppers is a joy to the crow. Street organizations, called gangs by some, began as opposition to police terror. They protected their neighborhoods. I'm talking about black street organizations. They protected their neighborhoods, watching out for brutal pigs, walking children to school, and picking up groceries for the elderly. That's how they began. These young warriors who had so much love for their communities and who showed so much brilliance were led down the wrong path by men in service to the government or to themselves. Men who presented themselves as father figures but really did not have the interest and well-being of those young warriors at heart. So the gangs became, as Dhoruba bin Wahid describes them, predatory, apolitical, and reactionary. They became the instruments of violence, fear, and death our communities suffered greatly because of them. But those young warriors are not to blame, although they are responsible. Then who's to blame, Balagoon, you ask? We are. We who did not step up and become the fathers and mothers these young warriors so desperately needed. We must teach our youth. We must love them, not fear them. If not, they will continue to be tools and weapons of this wicked system. Kick the truth to the young black youth as the Wu-Tang Clan said. Our young warriors will not bang for Uhuru unless we teach them, unless we engage them, unless we lead by example and show that Uhuru, which means freedom, is something to bang for.
And that's something that we talk about, even when we talk about like music, trying to keep up with like the more current music, basically trying to keep up with where our young people are, because so much of the attitude is, placing them away from us, placing them outside of us. They call it otherizing them now. But if you can keep up with the music and keep up with the things that they are in tune with, then you can talk with them when it comes time. When it's an important time to talk with them, when it's an important time to connect with them. So we got to stay connected with our young people. It's very important.
Right. And we have to be real with them. Now, this one, this chapter, I'm dealing with tools, too, the knife, the gun, the realities of it. But one thing that I put in here, a thing about the gun. And let's be realistic to our students. And if you don't know, how can I put it? If you don't know a thing, it doesn't exist. So if you don't know you're bullshitting them, well, that's their bad luck. And that's also why I put certain things in this book, especially when it comes to us teaching our youth and ourselves to bang on Uhuru. Okay. First, you got to be realistic. Bang for Uhuru, excuse me. So bang for your freedom. News of a Burmese guerrilla army. This is dealing with the gun. Led by 2 children, made headlines with tales of 400,000 invisible soldiers commanded by 12-year-old twins. The 2 boys leading this so-called God's army, a group of about 200 men, were said to possess mystical powers. Besides making magic ammunition that makes 10 bullet holes for every shot. And this is in the news. This is what the boys claim to be invulnerable to bullets and landmines. The belief in human powers overcoming technological weapons like firearms is a recurring theme in the Asian martial arts. A secret society of Chinese martial artists tried to expel the oppressive white colonialists, whom they call the foreign devils, from China. This secret society, the Fist of Righteous Harmony, was known as the Boxers by foreigners because of their kung fu practice. The Boxers believed that their martial arts skills made them invulnerable to foreign weapons, including firearms. Although bolstered by Chinese imperial forces, the Boxers were defeated by rifle-wielding residents of the foreign quarter and later by the multinational force of Japanese, British, American, Italian, and Austrian military. The Boxers' belief that their bodies were impenetrable to bullets may have stemmed from the practice of iron shirt. Iron shirt refers to toughening one's body to withstand blows from kicks, punches, spears, arrows, clubs, and swords. In truth, the kung fu practitioner has deadened the nerves in that area, making him or her resistant to pain. This deadening is accomplished by repeated damage to the nerves, paired with the application of herbal poultices and liniments. I know that hurts some of you. You want the explanation to center around the use of qi. You want to believe the Boxers, your kung fu master, and even you were or are able to build a mystic shield of qi energy that surrounds and protects the iron shirt practitioner. Even if that was true, and it is not, it still did not save the Boxers' lives against the bullets of the foreign devils. Being impervious to bullets is one lie in the Asian martial arts. Dodging bullets is another. And even if you're spooking out with things that are African, sister was training with me for a while. And after she would do techniques, she would do the, hand force field. It's come from studying comedic stuff, the hand force field. So I said, why, what are you doing? And she said, I'm putting up my force field. And she said, I really don't need, I'm here training with my son. He wants to train. He likes this, and I like what you all are doing, but I don't need it. That's why I don't take it as seriously as you all do, because I got my force field. So she's saying I paired her with Akin Bobala, who's a master instructor now, but he had just moved here from England. So he was untrained, raw, and a really big dude, like 260 pounds. They're working out together. He had been here for a minute then, though, so he wasn't fully untrained. But so they're working out. She does something, I forget what they're working on, but she tries to come in on him and grab him, and push him with that force field. And her toe, seriously, tried to push him with the force field. Her toe, it was weird. The two of her toes hit his heel, like kind of separate on his heel. She's on the ground screaming. I broke my toe. And her toes were not broken. They just separated. They went over his heel. It was weird. Like she's trying to claw his heel. Maybe, toes were doing the force field. I don't know. But she's down there. I said, oh, your force field, you must have let down your force field for a minute. Right. People were laughing. She was pissed. She never came back to class, and I didn't expect her to. But that's all well and good. And if you got a force field, damn, that's good. Teach me. But don't fool yourself and spook out talking about you got a force field or you're impervious to damage. And so everybody can be damaged, y'all. That's what you better be smart in how you think. You better be smart. Well, smart in how you think, of course. You gotta be, and smart in how you move your body. So smartness isn't just thinking, to be honest, but you gotta be smart in mind, body, and spirit, man. Okay. And spirit is actually mind. It's the subconscious part of the mind. Anyway, I know that her son, anyway, let's see. Being impervious to bullets is one lie in the Asian martial arts. Dodging bullets is another. There's an account of Morihei Ueshiba. And I'm saying this, if you study these arts, hey, that's cool. But a lie is a lie. I don't care if it came from my own father. If it's a lie, I would say it's a lie.
Yeah, boom.
There is an account of Morihei Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido, dodging the pistol fire of 6 army men in a demonstration of his skills. Common sense would tell you this is nonsense, and if a brother made this claim, he'd be laughed out of town. In the Korean art of Kuksul Wan, they say that In Hyuk Suh, who is Kuksa Nim, the head of it, that it's newspaper article. He fought, a person showed me, I said, man, get that bullshit out of here. He fought 700 people in one day and defeated them all. I said, wait, 700 newborn babies? Hell out of here.
That's a nice round number, too.
Right. 700 just happened to show up.
Right.
All the ass, right? And people want to believe that. Here's the account of Morihei Ueshiba. 1, 2, 3. The 6 revolvers fired at the same time, and a cloud of dust. This is a real account, and a cloud of dust whirled around us. Then suddenly, one of the 6 marksmen was flying through the air. What had happened? Before we could figure it out, Sensei was standing behind the 6 men, laughing into his beard. First of all, that's a weird sight anyway. He had a big beard. He had like it's a microphone. It's just weird. It was weird, and it was BS. Another ridiculous account says, facing Ueshiba Sensei were the barrels of the 6 revolvers. First said rifles. 6 revolvers which had been fired. This fire I can remember clearly. So this person saying they were there. Now the other accounts said rifles, but he said he was there. It was pistols. This is just as ridiculous though. I can remember clearly, but the next stage where Sensei had moved the distance of 25 meters, that's about 80 feet, and thrown one of the 6 marksmen, I simply could not understand. He teleported and through the, he was like a night crawler from the X-Men.
Right.
I couldn't find any explanation for it other than God techniques. These are all real news accounts. You know how much money Morihei Ueshiba paid to get that in the newspaper and push his student body. I said, oh boy, with the author said, oh boy. On the other side of the coin are the cowboys who think that if they carry a gun, then they are invincible. There's a lot of folk in Atlanta like that. And don't even go to the range, so they can't even shoot. But studies prove this is not the case. Wild West desperados, Chicago gangsters, 1870 samurais, and the average 21st century firearm enthusiasts are all familiar with the once honored aphorism, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. That is a phrase that seems to pass both the common sense test and the test of time. However, a closer examination of the knife-gun showdown reveals that common sense ain't that common, and with the passing of time, facts become truths, become untruths. Even though firearms have replaced swords on the battlefield, and I would advise everyone to acquire and become skilled in the use of firearms, blades are still just as dangerous in combat. And at close range, they're actually even deadlier than a gun. Yeah, I said it. I wrote that there. And it is an actual fact. In 1984, Utah police, and I'm going to stop and skip from there, but in 1984, Utah police officer Dennis Tiller claimed that officers could not draw their guns and shoot a knife-wielding attacker who charged from 21 feet away. It's called the 21-foot rule. Defenders with the gun are actually fairly safe at 21 feet if they are well trained, have already racked their firearm, fire from the hip, not actually aim your shot, and sidestep off the line of attack. You got to do all that at 21 feet if you plan to be successful. But first, you have to be well trained. Otherwise, your ass is going to get cut.
Because this is a stress and duress type situation. So.
And 21 feet, you cross that shit quick. Now, you ain't cross it 80 feet like Morihei Ueshiba. I mean, 80 feet. Like you teleport.
I was going to say he had teleportation power. So
Right. Like my wife.
Right.
I about her teleporting on me before. Step just 5 feet. And she was talking about that yesterday, that if something go down, I forget what she's... No. We were in here, and my wife came in the door. I had the baby here, me and my son. Me and my daughter, Abiola. And she was right there, sitting on the floor, playing with the toothbrush. The door opened. Okiko tossed that toothbrush and got to moving. I ain't never seen nobody crawl this fast, right? And so we were cracking up. Like, she got scared. She was like, I'm out. I don't know what that creaking sound is. And she didn't even turn around and look. She just was moving. I don't know where she was going to, because I was right here. My daughter's right here. And she just, I guess she gonna hide behind the couch. Well, mind you, she's only 10 months old. But so I picked her up and she looked, she saw her mother like, whoa, she's looking like, whoo. And y'all was gonna say, oh, she's about to teleport like me. I said, yes. Because my computer blew up. My wife was standing on the steps and talking to me. I was in my office. The computer is boom. I pushed my chair back like, oh snap. I looked to say, oh my God, dear. She outside. Yeah. I ain't get a door open. She had went down the stairs and was outside.
Wow.
Everything good? We had a gas. Well, we thought it was a gas leak. It was actually an egg bursting. And it smells like, so like, oh my God, gas leaking? I look over at her to say, let's go. She at the door. Babe, come on.
Wow.
Yeah, so Morihei Ueshiba, you ain't got shit on the yellow she be teleporting for real. So the 21-foot rule, we deal with that in here, and I give real examples, okay, of what happened. We deal with condition red, condition orange, condition yellow, condition white, awareness or lack of. I deal with a knife versus gun simulation.
Well, we did a show on that too, Baba.
Huh?
Didn't we do a show on that as well?
I think on the 21-foot rule. I think
No,
we did.
the condition.
Oh yeah, we did on the condition for sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
I did a chart on knife versus gun simulation and what happens to you based on time and distance. So that's in there. I'm sure people are using that and stuff, stealing that from me, but the chart don't look that pretty. Y'all know how I am with technology, but I did the best I could. Putting it together, it makes sense though.
It's workable. Yeah, that's what you need from a chart.
Right. And we're dealing with the gun in relation to your relationship to your awareness, how you can defend yourself, those kind of things. So when people say don't bring a knife to a gunfight, they just talking. They don't know what they're talking about either.
They're just repeating something they saw in a movie.
Right. You saw it in, and I tell you what movie you saw it in, The Untouchables. And you may not have seen it, but you heard people talking about it.
Right, because that was a big movie at the time.
Right, and the Irish Chicago cop, played by the Scottish actor Sean Connery, said, let me tell you, don't. And he's talking to Elliot Ness, and he ends up killing the dude that night. Never bring a knife to a gunfight. And then people in the theater, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm sitting there like, no, that's not true. I brought a knife to a gunfight before.
Right.
And it shouldn't be a gunfight anyway. Hey, I'm gonna shoot you. Ha ha.
A duel.
So you best be using your intelligence. And if you're using your intelligence, you can have a damn pocket stick and still prevail. But if you stand in front of, hey, I got this pocket stick, well, I'm gonna use my taekwondo against your pistol.
Take my knife out.
Right. Aha!
Right.
So it doesn't work that way. But we deal with some, and I hate disarms, but because disarms can work if you really, really training. But they can, in class, they see me do a knife disarm. Then the knife falls and lands on my foot. Well, that fight could be over. If it goes through my shoe and into my foot, we both on the ground. You don't end up like that. I end up in one fight like that, where this dude threatened to bust my head with a bat. I just came back from the Million Man March, so I'm feeling so brotherly. And I'm trying to talk him out of not swinging and hitting me in the head with the bat, not busting my head. And so I'm not listening. He didn't give an intimidation. Intimidation has conditions. If you shut up, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna bust your head. That's a condition. All I gotta do is shut up. That puts me in control. I just can't ride ego into my grave. Okay. So if he said, shut up, or I slap the taste out your mouth, I'm gonna shut up. You ain't gotta slap the taste out my mouth. You don't want to, you give me a condition. But this person said, he smiled, said, I'm gonna bust your head wide open. Got a bat. I said, brother, you don't want to bust my head. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm gonna bust your head. He had already busted his wife's head, and the baby, they had a 2-year-old baby with a phone, so he don't care shit about my head. And he's outside, running his son. I'm like, hey, what's going on? My daddy just, oh, what? I'm gonna bust your goddamn head. Well, he swung. I covered. We also dealt with covers, and I covered. But the bat hit my hand. I'm covering my hand right here, and it broke my hand across the bones across there. You motherfucker! Boom! Hit him. Hit him to the liver. Uppercut to the liver. They call it a shovel punch, right? Boom to the liver. He goes down. I hit him with the broke hand. My job flipping around. I go down. We both go to the hospital. The people who look at it say, take him first. Take him. He was trying to help people, help the neighborhood, and got his hand broken. This dude attacked him. So they put me in the ambulance first and drove off. I guess another ambulance came for him because as I'm in the, because as I'm in the thing, he gets wheeled in. And I'm like, man, I should get out this goddamn, off this gurney and choke him out, right? But my hand, as I sat up, my hand said, no, lay back down. So it wasn't gonna be no choking. So anyway, that is 3. It's a whole lot in this chapter 2 with some gun disarms, and it shows my wife doing gun disarms in here. It shows Wumi doing gun disarms. Oh, jump. Shows Kunle disarming Amosun. Oh, snap. So it's pretty good stuff. Don't try it at home, folks. Come to class and say, hey, can you work this too? You can try this at home, but at home. And keep working and keep working and keep working and keep working and keep working.
And make sure that gun is not loaded.
Oh, yes. Use a pop gun if you got one. And if you can't, if you have to use it, do so. That's the only time I would ever use a disarm of any tool without trying to verbally disarm them. If I just don't have a choice. They haven't given me a condition. And they like, give me your money. And I give them my wallet. They said, I'm about to stab this nigga. I'm about to shoot. Now I got to go. I ain't got shit to lose. Yeah, I got something to lose if I don't go. You know what I mean? Well, I got something to lose. I can lose my life, but I can also save my life. But if I don't do nothing, I'm a lot more likely to lose my life. I don't never want to say you're gonna lose your life from getting stabbed, getting shot. They shoot you, blow your head off. I always say, mother blow my head off, I'm killing them. Then I'm gonna go and sit down with my headless body until they come and get me and put me in the black bag. But I refuse to just say I lose that encounter. Now, is that realistic? Hell no. Mm-hmm. But I eventually tell myself that, so I stay in the fight as long as I can. Do not, if I'm taken somewhere and they say, hey, he's been on a machine, breathing with a machine for 6 months. Should we take him off? Don't take me off. I'm fighting my way back. And one day I'm going to wake up. Now, if it's a financial burden on my family, they know, financial burden. I've been on that mud for 2 years. Go ahead, take me off, but take me off slow because I may be like, oh, I'm here. So move slowly before you pull that plug. Right? Because I plan on fighting my way back into this world. And I've done similar, if you don't know, I had 7 strokes, 2012 at one time, not like just 7 stroke week after week. I've been messing around with some kind of substance or something. No, I had 7 strokes. Head one, when they do the MRI, your head it look like a star. The doctor said my head was lit up like a Christmas tree. So they could only see 7. It may have been more. I was in the hospital for 4 days. I got out because they were like, damn, this dude walking, reading. We don't understand. The neurologist told me, I don't understand how you even hear, but how you walking around and doing. I said, because I know something. He said, well, I believe that. He said, you've been telling all the doctors that. I believe it. Obviously you do. Well, 4 days, they let me out. They're like, we don't understand this, but we're letting you out. Because I'm walking up the halls. I did a 2-mile walk around. They're like, what in the hell? So now I was off balance, but when they told me I had to, walk to get my balance back, I'm walking over objects, throwing pillows on the floor to walk on them, about to fall and catching myself. Because I'm like, shit, okay, this is training for me, right?
Yeah, boom.
When they let me home after 4 days, 4 days later, and I can bring any of the students who were with me at that time. 4 days later, I was teaching again. And you think the students would have been, gentle on me. They weren't no gentle. They weren't gentle at all. They're like, the master truth, don't get on the mat if you can't take it. I taught them that, so they just gonna live by it, right? So I was back to teaching. Divination came, said I had to retire for a while. Akinbobola took over the school for, I think, 3 months, and I was debilitating. If I don't train for a week, I start to get sick, probably depression, but I get throwing up, diarrhea, my muscles get weak.
Excuse me.
I had to go back to class. Okay, so I had to go back. I went, got divination again. So I have to go back to class. I can't just retire forever. And it wasn't said forever anyway, but I got to go back. So if I say yes, so I went back to class and stopped since. Had a stroke online. Was back the next week. That you all have seen.
Yeah, well.
I went through the show actually. Then didn't go to the hospital after. The reason why. So how you know you had a stroke? Because I've had them. I know what it was like. And y'all saw me slow down. Well, when you go to the hospital, they give you the same spiel when you have a stroke. You've had a stroke. If you had gotten here 2 hours, within 2 hours after having the stroke, most people can't do that. Most people don't know they've had a stroke.
Right.
And those who have, unless somebody's just ready to run them right then, they're not going to make it in 2 hours.
Right.
But they say, we give you this medicine. I don't even know what that is. I don't want it. You get this medicine. I'm not against medicine. I'm not the ear doctor. But I don't want that. That's supposed to, and you go back to normal. I don't believe that.
My dad had a stroke in September.
Right.
And it was the same story. That's exactly what they said. That's exactly this, that it had just happened. There was a woman who came and they gave her the medicine and she was fine. She, recovered immediately or something like that. I'm like, that's weird. And I don't think it was that much longer. If it was over 2 hours by the time he got to the hospital, I don't think it was that much longer than 2 hours.
Right.
I'm like, well, why didn't you give it to him?
And show me the pictures of these people.
Right.
Not just like evidence so they can make that money too. Where the pictures?
Right.
What's her name? You don't hear about mothers. Ain't talking about YouTube. Ain't nobody been on YouTube say, hey, I got this medicine so they can sell that, because it's a myth. It's bull job. They know they can't do nothing for you. They're going to put your ass on saline solution because you needed, you were dehydrated in the first place.
And aspirin.
Right. That's to thin your blood. Mm-hmm. Right. So it travels through easier. And then they put you on something stronger. They try to put you on Coumadin. I had a blood thinner, but I cannot use Coumadin. Coumadin thins your blood too much. I'm a martial artist. I'll end up dying, getting thrown. And if you're scared of getting thrown or getting hit, that's when you get thrown and hit.
Right.
So I can't take. So they gave me another blood thinner that I had to be on. Not then, I wouldn't take it. But when I got the stents, I had to have blood thinner, because if you don't, that stent, if it starts pushed through by blood and you got metal going through your bloodstream like that, you're finished. Yeah, so you have to take for a year. But they know it's in my paper. Do not give me no Coumadin. I'm not taking that. My mama took Coumadin, right? I'm not taking. Her blood's so thin. You see her blood, it look goddamn light skin. Her blood light skin. I can't. I'm light enough. No, I don't need no light skin blood too.
Oh my goodness.
Seriously. So that is 3 was Bang on Uhuru. We're dealing with the fight in there. Okay. Great information. If you get the book, or if you're in town, come to class.
Yeah, Bo. Absolutely. All right. So number 4, thou shalt not.
This is the final one that we're dealing with today.
Right. Our final one is number 4. Thou shalt not exploit your people.
And the name of the actual FTP code is no exploitation.
Don't exploit your people. You live in the hood, they live in the hood, and chances are they don't have anything more than you do. We have enough community leeches and pork chop preachers robbing the people. And the proverb is, by the time the fool has learned the game, the players have dispersed. That's an Ashanti proverb. Exploitation is defined as the action of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. Some synonyms for exploitation include taking advantage, abuse, misuse, ill treatment, unfair treatment, and oppression. It is the duty of every warrior to stand against exploitation, even against those who would exploit what it means to be a warrior. What is your definition of a warrior? Is every African man and woman on this earth a warrior? If so, the title is meaningless then. It's funny that I'll go right back to it, but there was actually a video circulating earlier this week that I was going to tag you in. And it was a well-known Black teacher saying that all Africans in African societies were warriors.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And this is like kind of a trusted teacher. So I was very shocked that he would say that.
I know who it is, and they always say that. But anyway, there's a me and the wife had a discussion yesterday about us saying, we are descendants of kings. All of us. There are more janitors than kings.
Yeah, well.
So most of us came from what you would call a commoner or peasant stock. Right. I told my wife, she said, well, I know, where they get it from. I said, me too. You're enslaved. Everything was taken from us. Right. And so we want to be greater than. We don't want to think about I was descended from a janitor. But it's okay. That's because we're looking down on janitors, and we shouldn't be, because we can't exist without a janitor.
Yeah.
When I was at Howard, nobody would talk to the engineer. They call. He was the janitor. And making jokes on them and looking down bourgeois niggas at Howard. Shout out to Howard. That shout out to Howard. Cool, but there are some bougie people everywhere, yeah. But 2 instances. So I would talk to him. He'd be like, you want some of this? Take out his pocket, some rum, some gin. Hell yeah, we drinking, we talking. And he would see things. And he was like, my son and my daughter. So I said, oh yeah, that's them. Yeah, they go here. Yeah. He said, everybody. He said, I took this job because he was doing something else, that made more money. But he said, I took this job because I have 2 children going to college at the same time. They wanted to go to Howard. They live in DC. He said, everybody who works at Howard, which these children don't know, their children go free.
Mm-hmm. I had someone do the exact same thing.
Janitor, it doesn't matter if you're a professor, a janitor, if you lick the concrete clean for your job. If you do that, your job sucks. But your children go free, and you can go free. So that's why he was there, but they didn't know that.
Right.
There's a brother there. Well, my sister went to Howard before me. There was a brother there. He sets up a van there, and he sells hot dogs. And people were joking about him, the hot dog man, blah 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 blah. And my sister said,
like $500-$600 a day, maybe more.
His child went to Howard, but not because he worked there, because he had tons of money and could pay it with ease.
Right.
So I would talk to the other people, clown. They buying them hot dogs though.
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, stop talking to this man like that. And he said, it's all right, man. Stick around for a minute. I got to tell you something. So he said, your food's always free on it's always on me, because you're always defending me. You're always, respectful. He said, but what they don't know, he said, not $500,000 a year. He said, I make $300,000 a month.
Wow.
This was back in 81. He said, so I don't care what these children say. They're not going to make that, most of them, when they get out of here and been working for 20 years.
Not creative thinkers.
Yeah, so I don't mind what they say, because they're still going to be buying my hot dogs.
Yeah, boom. It's good advertising for him. Talking shit.
My sister, when she would talk about them, now we've been trained, you don't just talk, but she would talk to me. She was like, man, the damn hot dog, dude sell the hot dogs, he wears a green army jacket all the time. He's so black, he blends in. He makes the jacket blends in with him. He look green black. So, she would just say anything. I said, how is that possible, Lisa? I'm telling you, he black. And I said, okay, well that's fine. Our daddy black like that,
That's right.
He said, yeah, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, when you see a black man handing you that hot dog, that light bun, it just the contrast of it. I said, okay, you're clowning him now. Stop.
Right.
I said, but tomorrow you're going to get one of them hot dogs again.
Right, exactly. Keep them on your mind.
So the hot dog man, I'm sure he's not. One of his sons is probably running it, or daughter is running it.
If they were smart.
But I'm sure he's probably transitioned by now, because he was up there when I was there, But if you're not, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Yipper said the second HU.
I was going to say Yipper don't start.
Ade!
Oh, Ade's here. Good.
Yeah. Hello, Ade. Come here for a second.
While we're waiting for him, Baba, I was just going to jump in and say, what I always thought the we come from kings thing meant was that we come from a society where we had our own royalty. Now, that might just be my interpretation of it, but, we are often taught, and the only royalty that we are familiar with and that we look at are, the Germanic English royals. So I always took that statement to mean that we have our own royalty.
That's what they said. Yeah, I figure. I think that's my wife was trying to say it that way too. So, Yipper, you call Howard the second HU. He does too. He was actually the senior class president and junior president at Hampton. So he goes to Hampton.
I also run Hampton.
Yeah, according to him.
Oh my goodness. Greetings, grown man Ade. Excuse me.
So this is my one son out of all these girls. 8 girls, 1 son.
That's what we talking about.
We just talking about that earlier. So we're talking about the Bible, the Lamb, and the Whirlwind. So the Bible, African Warriors Bible, the Lamb, me, because I'm gentle, the Lamb, and the Whirlwind of Death, the Whirlwind. So the Bible, the Lamb,
the Whirlwind.
Oh yeah, the Whirlwind of Death. Okay. One day we'll tell everybody why they call it the Whirlwind of Death. So it ain't no joke. I wrote a book, WWOD, What Would Ominiki Do? But WWOD, What Would Ominiki Do, is also Whirlwind of Death.
Oh wow,
it's deep.
It's so it's meant to be. That's how deep the whirlwind is, man. Absolutely. So this is our show warrior class. This is my son that y'all have heard so much about. So y'all seen 4 of my children now. You seen Ade, you seen Okikiola, the baby. On one episode, it was Yemi and Abiola.
Yeah,
working techniques. So that's 4. We'll eventually get the rest of them out here. So Ade is number 7 out of the 9.
That's
Yeah,
for sure.
bro.
All right. Thank you, son. I just want because said the second HU. We ain't no Hampton haters in here because my son goes to Hampton. It's just not as good as Howard. But all right, love you, sir. All right. So yeah, we ended up at both HUs.
Yeah, bro. I lost my place now. Let's see.
Now, I'm sorry. Now, if I had known, I'd have gone to Hampton. To be honest, well, my sister would have been freaking, but because Hampton's by the ocean,
Oh.
and for me, that's where I get my creativity. I mean, we look out at the lake out here, at the water. I get creativity. So we shit the college by the sea, by the ocean. Oh man, I'd have been clowning ant, but I may have got kicked out because I've been sneaking on one of them yachts that be sitting in that bay that they have, and been up there studying and partying. And but anyway, all right, nigga.
All right. What is your definition of a warrior? Is every African and man and woman on this earth a warrior? If so, the title is meaningless then. Is every conscious African a warrior? I would say hell no. Every name we possess, every title we are given, or that we are arrogant enough or ignorant enough to bestow upon ourselves, represents our mission, our power, and our challenge. What are the mission, power, and challenges of a warrior? If you don't know, if you have to make up the answer, you are not a warrior. Perhaps you are supposed to be one, but you are not one yet. Being a warrior implies you possess certain skills and skill sets.
Oh, and I wrote that before taken. I wrote that before
well
taken.
Before, years before.
Right.
You're always stealing from Baba. Just saying you are a warrior is as meaningful as a man proclaiming he is a mother just because, or a woman, just
Right.
because he feels that he is, or because he wrote a book about mothering. He can never be a mother or a woman, no matter how hard he desires to be, or how many YouTube videos he posts proclaiming his motherhood or womanhood. Baba did not write the womanhood part. I'm just telling that because it applies. In fact, in so doing, he would incite disgust and even hatred. Well, when someone just proclaims they are a warrior, all willy-nilly, just because, it too incites disgust and a feeling that the person proclaiming to be what we sweat, bleed, and work our asses off to be doesn't respect the title. I know I am upsetting some of you. However, we must stop being romanticists and get real. Warriors are relied upon to protect the community. Warriors are looked up to. Warriors are followed by those who seek to learn what it is to be a warrior. This is a tremendous responsibility, and explaining the title is dangerous at best.
Exploiting the title,
is dangerous at best and treasonous at worst. Stop pretending to be what you know you are not, what you know you have not worked for. Be upset. I don't give a damn. What are you going to do about it? Your best bet would be to get off your ass and work to earn the title. Know that warriors have a different mindset from non-warriors. Our thoughts are not your thoughts. Thus, our actions are not your actions. I was once told to spar it out with a capoeira practitioner who has beef with me. The person who said that does not think I think as I think or do as I do. If you see me putting my hands on someone who has beef with me, we aren't sparring. Every culture on earth had, and most still have, its own naming ceremonies, practices, or manner in which names are given. Many of us in so-called conscious communities are given names, usually through divination or by some wise elder. Most of us select names for ourselves, names we feel reflect who we are. It is best to be as authentic as possible when selecting a name, because your name, as I said, and this includes titles, represents your mission, your power, your challenge. In most traditional African societies, your surname would traditionally be given first, as family lineage is very important. And then the names you were given through various ceremonies, including your naming ceremony after birth, initiations, initiations and deeds. If you wear a title, it is given before your surname. My real name and title, for instance, would be said this way traditionally: Balogun Ojetade Faranmona Egregbesola, Aregbesola, excuse me, Efun Segun, is that right, Baba?
Efun Shegun,
Efun Segun, Ogunyemi, Oyabode, Abi Egunde, Abegunde,
Ide, and then OJ Tade. Because OJ Tade would be first. Oh, it's right there. Yeah,
you put
after
it.
Balogun. Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
bro.
those are names, and I have more now, but those are names I received. So Rock Baye, there are different names there. Okay, I'm not gonna give all my names right here, but because your name is your mission, power, your challenge, and it describes who you are.
Right. So everyone doesn't need to know it.
Right. So you won't get everything, but that's some of me right there.
Right. And that's also warrior logic.
Yes. So OJ Tade is the family name, surname. The title goes first. Balogun is my title. It's War Chief. So it's War Chief, OJ Tade, then my names. So if you it'd be Balogun OJ Tade Farin Mola traditionally. Okay. If you said that here in the diaspora, it would be Balogun, still the title first, Farin Mola OJ Tade. Right.
Yeah, bro. Okay. My name is Balogun.
My title.
Excuse me. My title is Balogun, which means war chief. My surname is Ojetade, which means the ancestors are royal, indicating my lineage is a royal one.
And it's not. We came from kings. It's actually a real one.
Yeah, bro. Each of my names tells a bit more about me. To know my entire name is to know my story in a nutshell. As my accomplishments increase, as my life expands, so will my names. There was a time when only conscious brothers who were martial artists or who served in the military called themselves warriors. I would argue that not all of them were warriors, but today everybody's a warrior. But not just a warrior. Nah, that's not enough. We gotta be warrior professors, warrior back scratchers, warrior egg salad sandwiches. I'm sorry, gluten-free egg salad sandwiches. Anything to avoid being a straight up warrior. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a warrior. I am also a scholar and an author. I read and write science fiction and fantasy. I'm good at it. I'm passionate about it. But if the enemy kicks in my door, I can't Star Trek him out of my house. I can't hit him with Star Wars and send him packing. I have to utilize the skills, training, and experience I have in war to protect my life and the lives of those I love. And yes, I am a priest of Ifa, Obatala, and Egbe. Being initiated doesn't make me or anyone else invincible. When my wife was initiated, a fellow Awo or of Ifa, a so-called leader from the US, told her that now that she is initiated, she doesn't need to train anymore. That is spooky as hell, And it was at least at that moment, it was at that moment I knew that brother was not fit to lead. He can teach maybe, but lead? Hell no. I've said this before. Spirit, whether you call it the Lord, Allah, Orisha, or Obosam, or Loa, or Netter, handles the same things we can't handle, not the things we won't handle. If you wear the title of warrior, you must know the mission, power, and challenge that come with being a warrior. You must understand those things and live them. Many among us want to be or have positioned ourselves as leaders. But like all titles or names, leader represents your mission, your power, your challenge. The mission and power of leaders will differ based on the organization they lead. However, the main challenge of every leader is the same as the main challenge of every warrior. And that challenge is called accountability. But what is accountability? Well, accountability is accepted responsibility. Warriors don't blame the white man, Negroes, aliens, or the boule for their shortcomings, sicknesses, or struggles. We ask, what can I do to affect positive change for myself, my family, and my people? We know the white man is responsible for making us mentally, physically, and spiritually ill. But who's to blame when some clown who believes it is a revolutionary act to rape a sister snatches your wife off the street as she walks from her car with your baby in her arms? You don't lament how the white man messed that brother up. You stomp his ass to whine. Then, if you must lament, shed half a tear when it gets back.
Shed half a tear and then
Shed half a tear, then get back to working, get back to the work of freeing our people from this white man's insane system. Until you take responsibility, you are a victim. And a victim and a warrior cannot occupy the same person at the same time. Victims are passive. They are acted upon. Warriors are active. We take initiative to influence the outcome and bring about change. In today's world, we have too many keyboard killers, too many shea butter soldiers who like to talk but not act. We like to engage in verbal masturbation, and like any form of masturbation, it might feel good, but it ain't producing a damn thing. That's why today we have few warriors but many actors. These actors play the part of warriors in a movie called The Black Conscious Life, in which we brothers are extras and sisters barely have a role. These want to be Flip Wilson and Ben Vereen's. Don't you know them? Look at them. Avoid accountability. Huh?
Look them up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Look them up. Avoid accountability for their actions by not taking any action except masturbating on YouTube.
No, master debating.
Master debating on YouTube. Excuse me.
Yeah, this is during that era where all these so-called conscious leaders were debating each other.
The Netter set.
Yeah, all them, yeah. So and so is they say masturbating, but so and so is debating so and so, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
and a waste of time, and the whole you ain't doing shit to elevate your people or fight your enemy, but you fight each other.
Many times they were actively doing things that were a disservice to the community, and some of them still are.
And saying stuff, I mean, you're saying stuff to get views, so they would come to your debates. Like the one brother who said, if I could remember his name, I would certainly say it. I can't. God damn it, he's locked up now. That men used to breastfeed. Men and women breastfed, and if we get back on our diet, we can start breastfeeding again. I said, this Mark is foolish. So
Wow.
yeah.
No words.
I can't remember, but he ended up going.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about too. I can't remember his name either. That's probably appropriate. And yes, I said master debating. Masturbation combined with debating that gives you a good feeling, but nothing good will come out of it. We build with our hands, not with our mouths. Furthermore, warriors will not succeed in the long run if they are not accountable in their personal lives. You cannot talk about the Black woman as a goddess and you're at home whooping your wife's ass. You're a hypocrite. You really don't believe that the Black woman is a goddess, because who in the hell in their right mind is going to try to lay a hand on God? Or is your God just that weak? If our so-called warriors are not accountable, then we must make them accountable or demand they resign from their post. If they refuse to resign, then we resign them. But you have to have the heart to do that. The heart of a warrior.
We all know about Kwanzaa.
Take a good and honest look at the so-called conscious community. Our sisters are leaving it in droves. Our sisters are leaving it in droves, brothers. That's our fault, because we've allowed our community to degenerate into a good old boy club in which our sisters are devalued. They don't feel safe. They don't feel respected. And we, who claim to be upholders and protectors of Black women, allow Black, white, and other men to rape, beat, terrorize, and demean them in the name of God, tradition, or revolution. But I promise you this, sisters, there are many among us who will not stand by and watch you be disrespected or harmed in any way. Any such madness will be dealt with harshly. However, there is much done that will not be talked about in a Facebook comment. If a man says he will kill someone on Facebook, in a Facebook comment or on YouTube, he's lying or nuttier than squirrel poop. Being a true protector of your community is a thankless job, because no one but those directly involved should even know how and when you move. Sisters should only be able to say, whoever removed the threat, thank you. Not, thanks for removing the threat, Kalanji Jamachanga, who lives in Riverdale at 23 Penny Lane, Social Security number 345-240-223. Warriors have to be accountable, and we must also hold them accountable. There are 7 tasks a warrior must do often and well. If a warrior fails to accomplish these tasks, hold him or her accountable. Respectfully let them know. If they constantly fail, then it is time for them to step down.
So they're going to get the book and they'll see those.
The 7 tasks, yeah.
Yes. So that is the first 4 chapters abridged of the Bible, y'all. So get it, the African Warriors Bible. I normally don't, push my stuff, but this is worth having for sure. I've been going back through reading my own stuff, and I've been having some pretty good moments. I'm having some pretty good moments in the books and everything, and because I don't know if I'll be writing any more. I mean, I've got over 40 nonfiction and fiction. I'll be writing some fiction books for my enjoyment. But as far as nonfiction, it takes a lot. Not that hard off from my knowledge, but to word it effectively takes a lot. So where it's effective but still entertaining. I've read some books that's boring as shit, great information, but God,
Right.
you know,
Excuse me.
I've asked people before. Now, somebody recently claimed they finished it, but I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. Blueprint for Black Power, great information, but goddamn, it's that book is, like this thick. You take 4 or 5 of these. I mean, add like this one. Add about 5 more of these. And you got Blueprint for Black Power. And I say, have you finished it? Everybody who has that book, they have it, but they ain't finished it.
No.
I watched my sisters. I've never asked them. I should ask. I believe my older sister Phyllis bought the book because it's been in the family a long time. I should ask them. I know both of them have read it some because my sister Lisa's the one that handed it to me to read. I should ask them, did they finish it? I never did. I just said, okay, cool. Because another thick book, the actual King James Bible, I've read cover to cover 3 times.
Yeah, bro.
Indaba My Children. Now, Indaba My Children is interesting. God damn, it's interesting. By Busumuzulu Mutwa. They say Credo. Credo is his Christianized name.
Okay.
The priest forced that name upon him, so I don't use it. But
and that ain't all.
Right. So if you've heard Credo Mutwa, it's Busumuzulu Mutwa. That is who wrote Indaba My Children. Now that book is as thick as or thicker than the King James Bible. I read that bad boy in 3 days. Loved it. Extremely interesting.
Okay, so it's a good read.
Oh, exceptional read.
Easy read, yeah.
When you read that is from their the Zulu liturgy, right? But it is written in such an entertaining so their belief. He's a Sangoma, which is a diviner, but he's transitioned, but he was also a Sanusi. There were only 2 left alive, and I don't think any of them are alive anymore. But
no, you said no.
They tell the stories. Those are the storytellers, the griots, if you will, and they have to be as part of their training, accurate to the word. He fights like that too. If you say the where it should have been you're kicked out the room. You have to recite that properly. But so they had to recite properly, but they also, now this is not, you don't have to be entertaining, because I know some boring priests. I try not to be, but they have to be entertaining too. In their delivery. And so the way he wrote it is the way he would teach it. That's why it's Indaba, sit down. Indaba, my children, sit down. My children.
Yeah, okay.
Let me tell you these stories. Incredible. My favorite part is Alu Mukanda, which is, he goes from the third person, and Alu Mukanda has to be recited in the first person. I have my ideas of why. Unfortunately, I can't ask a Sanusi now, but so I could just have ideas of why. If anybody out there knows exactly why it's written in first person, let me know, but I have ideas. But so when you read it, it's incredible. Mukanda is one of the 7 immortals. So they believe there are 7 immortals on the earth at each time, at any time. And I mean, he ends up getting his eyes plucked out. And so he develops his psychic ability to see. He was Daredevil before there was a Daredevil. I wouldn't be surprised if they stole it from that.
Mm.
There's this rampaging elephant it hates humans, because humans, been murdering elephants. And so it hates humans. So it kills them wherever it sees them. And Lumukanda is walking with his people to this one area. They got to go past where the elephant stalks. And it's on this, I won't tell too much, but he ends up encountering the elephant. It's raw. the way he has to deal with the elephant and the way the elephant deals with him. People talk about Lord of the Rings, which is well written. That's nice. Yeah, have a hand clap. And thou, my children, if that was given the honor it should be and made the way it should be, that would beat Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, House of Dragons, anything else you can name like that in the fantasy realm. Hold on a second. They answer the door, please. Hold on a second, you all. The door's right here. I'll be right there. Just a second.
It's before Baba chose this topic and assigned me the chapter to read on rape. I actually was thinking, I had some thoughts about that earlier this week, and I don't remember where they came from or what situation happened, but I remember becoming one of Baba's students. I started to view, because I had this, I guess, hatred or just this distaste for a certain hue of people. I guess I felt like there are certain ones of them to dislike or hate or, whatever you want to call it, more than if it was one of our brothers. And I think that I didn't have the proper view of a rapist until I became one of Baba's students, and understanding that that's not the type of person, and never would I have thought that we should have rapists as part of our community, but that is something that has to be plucked out. Like there is no room for leeway when it comes to that. So I remember Baba giving us a scenario with, if we saw like a black rapist raping a white woman, like what would we do? And I think at that time I kind of felt like maybe I would, maybe ignore it or not deal as harshly with him as I would with someone else who was raping, especially a sister. But Baba brought me to the understanding that no matter what a rapist looks like, that just like he says in the book, that's somebody who you stomp to whine, no matter what. So I just wanted to share that because that was an experience that I had this week.
We'll have to talk on it.
Yeah, Bob.
I had to run and take the old man break.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can go over to Amazon, see what I have over there. We got some pretty good stuff. I'm still, debating on bringing out. Well, I did bring it out. I just didn't. I did a soft push of it because I didn't want the so-called powers that be to look into it. But Our Blood No More. So, which I'm surprised they let me bring out. So, all right, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging with us.
Thank you.
If you read the book, let me know what you think about it.
Yeah, Bo.
And we can have discussions on it, debates on whatever you want to do. It's cool with me. So, talk to y'all soon. Be safe out there. Thank you, Ominiki.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you for everything.
Another great one. So stay black or whatever it is you may be. Be safe. Peace.
Peace, family.